Year 6 of my freelance career, I shot 58 days, 25 of which were part of travel jobs, shoots not in Boston or New England. Once I get to New York, I count that as a travel job. But this is not including actual travel days where I'm just paid to travel, which I charge a half day rate for. These 58 days are just shooting days on set. And of those 32 projects that I was shooting for a total of 58 days, 14 of them I edited myself. So doing some rough math here, there's 52 weeks in a year and 58 shoot days. So on average, I'm shooting about once a week. I'm curious, let me know in the comments if you also freelance full-time. How many days on average per year are you shooting? I really don't actually know if that's like a lot or a little. But for me, over the last 5 years, this is the most days I've been on set, because I've dramatically reduced the amount of editing projects I take on and pretty much exclusively am focusing on shooting and only editing when it's something that I shot, which I love to do when I get the chance, because I honestly think it's invaluable to be able to be the one that looks at your footage on a really granular level, making the fixes to the white balance that you messed up or cutting around some shaky takes. Being the one to have the closest eyes on your footage, I believe, pays dividends when you're on set next, taking those lessons that you learned in the edit into the next shoot. But one thing that I did not shoot very much of this year was YouTube videos. When I first started up this channel in 2021, in that first year, I made 26 videos. And then in the following year, I made 21 videos. And putting out a video every other week is kind of like a full-time job when you're doing the types of videos that I've traditionally made on this channel. So in 2023, when I started to get more cinematography work, probably in no small part to my exposure on this YouTube channel, I only made 9 videos. And this year was a pretty similar story, where I put out 10. So it seems like I'm kind of on a 2-year cycle of what I focus on. And in 2025, it's time for something new. And there's going to be some pretty big changes coming to this YouTube channel, which I will touch on later in the video. And just like everyone else in this industry, I am constantly acquiring equipment. Here's a quick list of my top 4 or 5 acquisitions. I'm just going to give each one of these items a rating of 1 to 5 stars. First up, my 24-105 2.8. I'm giving it 4. Next, my Blazar Remus set. I actually just got the 33 in the mail a few days ago. I have not used it yet, but the original set of 3 is really fun and really affordable, but the amount of times I take them on jobs is also very limited, so I'm gonna give them a 3. The Deity Theos UHF transmitter or double transmitter receiver combo package, it just doesn't really sound that great. There are a bunch of benefits that come along with a UHF system compared to 2.4 gigahertz, but because this kit is not able to simultaneously transmit and record internally, and the fact that that transmitted audio sounds kind of compressed makes me not really like to use it, and I've actually kind of completely defaulted back to using my old Rode Go 2s on a bunch of recent shoots because I'm able to have a backup internally that sounds better. The Deity is probably the only purchase I really regret of 2024. Should I give it a 1.5? I'll give it a 2-star because it does have a bunch of great features. It just doesn't really do the most important thing, which is capturing good audio. The Aputure 1200X. Now this one could be 5 stars, but to be honest, in the month or 2 that I've owned it, I have not used it on set a single time. I've tested it out in my backyard, and I've been shooting a ton lately, but nearly all of my stuff the past couple of months has been travel jobs, and the size and weight of this light does not make it super travel friendly, and it's definitely overkill for the types of videos that I've been working on. But I have pretty much zero doubt that this light will be a godsend on local shoots in the coming years and years to come. One notable item absent from this list is the Canon C80 and Canon C400. I did not purchase either of those new bodies this year. I did get a chance to test out the C80 pre-release thanks to Adorama. We did a first look video, and then I made a much more in-depth video on this channel going into all my thoughts on that camera. But I still love my C70, and if I'm gonna drop 6 or 8 grand on a new piece of equipment, it better solve some problems in my workflow, and I don't really have any big problems with the C70 that need solving. So my money can be much better spent elsewhere. Now, if I was to reflect on those 58 or so shoot days this year and think about like the type of work I'm doing now versus the type of work that I want to do in the future, I think it's very clear to me now that what I really want is to partner with very driven, talented writer-directors. I was really lucky earlier in my career when I just started out as a video editor to partner with two amazing directors. I worked in-house at a company where the directors, the directing duo, also worked, and we worked a lot together in that company. And then we all went freelance around the same time in like 2018, 19, something like that. And we continued to work together a ton. And I continued to learn from them and be inspired by them. And that partnership really helped me grow in my craft as an editor at the time. And as I slowly made my transition into doing what I really wanted to do, which was shoot, they continued to hire me as a camera operator on their productions and as an editor still. But then they took full-time staff positions at another company, and they would hire me to freelance for them at that company too. But as the years have gone on, they have full-time people now at that company. So I don't get to work with that directing duo much at all anymore. Every 1 or 2 years I do have a shoot with them. I had one this year, which was a lot of fun, and they really still inspire me because they're so creative. And it's so much more fun as a technician to be creative when trying to accomplish a vision that a writer-director already has. And I feel like right now in my career with this YouTube channel, I'm getting exposed to a lot of people, primarily a lot of videographers and cinematographers, not a lot of directors. And I feel like those partnerships with directors, specifically writer-directors, that I'm going to make in the next few years, hopefully, is what would potentially propel me to that next level. So I guess this is me just kind of manifesting this, trying to put it out there. If you are a writer-director watching this, my email is below. So let's wrap up this video by talking about the YouTube channel in the year to come. I mentioned that some changes are coming, and they kind of already have. If you've seen my latest video, you could probably tell that was a bit of a departure from the style of video that I've been making for the last 4 years. The bread and butter of this channel for the longest time has been me running like very specific nuanced tests on equipment that I own, that I have questions about. And back in 2021, I feel like those videos were actually really valuable because there weren't that many people with the C70 making these tests. And the comments were all super effusively praising me for making these because it really offered a lot of value to a lot of people. But now, you know, if you fast forward to 2024 into 2025, YouTube keeps changing and keeps growing. And there's just so many more people making that type of content now, where typically if I have a simple question like that about a piece of kit, I can just look it up and I don't really need to make my own video about it to add to the noise. However, what I've been really enjoying watching lately is more informal cinematography freelancer vlogs, the cranky cameraman chief among them. If he has not made his way into your algorithm yet, I strongly recommend you just search for him and watch his videos. They are great. He's just documenting his journey, the often mundane journey of freelancing as a video production professional as a career. He shoots on Sony, he shoots a lot of news, I shoot on Canon, I do mostly corporate and a healthy dose of music videos. We don't really have a lot of overlap in terms of style or even equipment, but there's still just so much to learn from watching someone who's been doing this longer than you have and watching them solve the types of problems you run into every day in this career in real time. And in my last video, I documented my trip to Texas to shoot a corporate testimonial. And I thought it would be interesting to talk about my media pass situation, which a lot of people are aware of, but some aren't, and there's a lot of nuances to it. And I also talked about like the compromises I have to make when packing, because there's always compromises when doing a travel job versus bringing everything that you want to locally. And I did a little postmortem on like my own critiques of my framing after the interview. And those little nuggets I find way more valuable than watching someone compare the dynamic range of two different cameras that are both great. So that more informal vlog style content covering my actual client work is the direction I'm going to take this channel, because currently it's the type of content that I'm enjoying watching. So it's what I'm going to try to make. And if you did catch that latest video, let me know what you think of the new format. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that in 2024, I also got married. Not exactly film related, but I did hire someone to shoot it. And one of my friends showed up with an actual film camera, to my surprise, and documented some of it. So I'm looking forward to editing that film at some point down the road, maybe in 2025. I'm sure my wife would like that sooner rather than later. All right, see you next year.